You don't want to have to read the contract, right? As soon as someone opens up the contract, you're in trouble.
Exactly. And then if you start basing everything based on contracts and based on legal ways of doing things, the relationship, I believe, you start to breaking it down a little bit, and it's not as fun to deal or being able to ask for things once you start doing that.
There's definitely a relationship dynamic that happens between the on-site staff of the developer and the GC's staff that's there. You guys didn't write the contracts, right? You guys didn't do the design, but you're both responsible for hitting your own team's metrics and also trying to keep a good relationship at the same time. How do you guys work through those types of issues on a personal level with the people and also making sure that you're doing what's right for your respective companies?
It's an interesting position, honestly. Like we were discussing earlier, like the first thing I did when I got into development is, okay, mapping out how this works, right? And as developers, you start to see that you are like a orchestrator, right? Or a middleman where you hired your people, which is the consultants, right? Where I was in. Now I could see where I was, right, as the engineer that I was before. But in development, I mapped out, and then you're able to see, okay, you got your people, the consultants that will give you the knowledge for you to take good decisions, right? And then you have the GC, right, which you also did a GMP, a contract with them, and they have to execute based on what your metrics or the conditions you guys agree upon the GMP, right? So for us, maintaining relationship with everyone is crucial, right? We don't want to go to the level of everything you want to take to a legal side, right?
You don't even want to have to read the contract, right? As soon as someone opens up the contract, you're in trouble.
Exactly. And then if you start basing everything based on contracts and based on legal ways of doing things, the relationship, I believe, you start to breaking it down a little bit, and it's not as fun to deal or being able to ask for things once you start doing that. So I believe managing a good relationship with all the people that are surrounding the project is crucial. And the way you do it is just being respectful all the times, right? Never breaking that barrier of respect between everyone, and always maintaining your cool. And I believe that by doing that, and at the end of the day, you just have to make everybody see that the point of all this is to build the building, and that everybody needs to have fun while we do it. And if you keep that in mind, not take anything personal, if you get insulted, if they tell you something you don't like, I mean, it's just absorbing it and keep moving forward, you know?
Right. I learned this from the head of construction at NRI. He used to always tell us, be careful with what you're doing, you're going to burn out my subs. And he treated all of our architects, the design team, the GC, because he was the head of construction and he knew how long the process was going to be because he had so much experience, that there were going to be things that were going to cause tension during the construction process. And like you said, things that he had to ask for that weren't necessarily in the contract, but there's a give and take as things are moving on. And he was very guarded about the way that we handled all of our design team and the GC and everything at the beginning of the project, because you only get so many requests. And the developer, like you said, is the head of the snake that is always driving things forward and trying to make things happen. But you still have to be responsible and respectful of all the other groups to make sure that you can actually make it through the process together. Because at the end of the day, like, that's the team that has to see it through for you.